Elon Musk is named Person of the Year Christmas. Well, Sir Lewis Hamilton. Hello, I'm Hayden Bloomfield and welcome to Vlog My Mind. This week I want to jump in with the positive news, the lighter stuff. So Lewis Hamilton, or Sir Lewis Hamilton, is now, well, Sir Lewis Hamilton. And I just think this is an exceptional journey, an exceptional story, and something that's well deserved. The guy's had an incredible career in his years. I mean, I'm not a big F1 fan, but just the significance of Lewis Hamilton, his rise to fame and his accolades he's achieved over the years, it is quite a nice, humbling story. And I mean, regardless of whatever you think of his personality and how it's changed with his fame, and like, there's a lot of things spun off in the news. Same with anyone that rises to fame, though, of their character, and certainly looking at character flaws and what their persona's like. But regardless of that, I think he's an incredible person that's done some incredible things that we can't, many of us can't imagine, cannot fathom going that fast in an F1 car. Screw that. But still, he had a great race against Verstappen, and either way, well-deserved knightship. So, well done, Sir Lewis Hamilton. On to the darker side. COVID Christmas. Again, are we going to have another lockdown Christmas? I don't know. I don't know the answers, but it's starting. We're starting to see those signs, and I don't want to spark fear and like concern. But my overall thoughts on the news and COVID and politics in general is I keep myself quite distant from it. I'm quite disassociated with it, for the reason purely being that with my association and study or focus on it, either way the outcomes are the same unless I pursue a career in that, in my mind. So if I listen to it, if I read or pull all the information, if I'm keeping up to date with things, doesn't make a difference either way. And especially the way it's portrayed in the news, well, with anything in the news, it's there to instill fear, concern, and I would rather live a more peaceful, happy life without it. So I'm not overly that engaged with it. Coming on to the subject of Christmas, I'd like to think that we would be fine. That I don't think we're going to go, personally, I don't think we're going to have another lockdown Christmas where we can't see friends and family. It's certainly looking like, with the whole Omicron variant, it's not looking positive. I'm an optimist, so I'm always going to assume the best outcome for everyone, so don't take my word for it. But I also wonder how people will react to this year if there is another lockdown, if we're told we need to isolate at home and we cannot socialise, we cannot be with our friends and family in any circumstance, in any situation. As I said, I don't think it's going to happen, but if it is, I do wonder how people will react to that and whether they will listen or not. And more that comes from, well, a built-up frustration, a build-up of anger and fear of missing out, and like it would be then 2 years where we haven't seen our loved ones over the Christmas holidays. So there's that, but on the other hand, I feel like there's a growing anger towards politicians and the government in itself, with the general public, with like Boris's boozy party or not party business meeting, allegedly. That's done a lot to fuse this, real anger with the government, I think. And to recover that, could it be recovered? Can it be recovered? Questionable. So that's my thoughts there. And I think overall, by being disassociated and not really paying much attention and just getting the news from people, or just looking at the odd highlights just to see, do I have to wear a mask, do I not, do I have to do this, do I not to do that, can I see people, can I not, keeps me in a lot more positive mindset, and then I just sort of focus on my own things and what I'm doing, and just as long as I can develop. When I had employees and staff and everything, it was a bit different. I had to make sure I was keeping up to date with things. That was in the middle of a pandemic, so you had to be up to date with everything and know what the regulations were and what the scale of lockdown was and how it was altering. So overall, I'd like to see hope. I do believe we'll be with friends and family over Christmas. I think there will be potentially an introduction of some form of restrictions, such as public crowds will probably be limited, and you'll probably see that certain venues maybe shut down over the Christmas period. I don't know, because can the economy support it? Can we actually survive another another shutdown of like pubs, clubs, restaurants. Can they survive? Can those industries survive? We don't know, and I think it will be quite brutal to put them through that, the most lucrative time of the year when they are busiest. So there's a lot of questions. This episode is probably more me just putting my questions out and my feelings out in the open, seeing what sort of comes back. Overall, like, one thing I want to reflect on with my mind that I was sort of thinking now is like the question of what if someone was to say, like, I'm saying this because I bumped into an old friend today, and just in there I was chatting to them about what they've been up to and where they are. They've just got back from being away abroad and such, and like asking what they've been up to in that time, and are they still studying, are they working, blah blah blah. And I realised when I'm faced with that question, it's becoming harder and harder to ask of like, what do you do? Like, what do I do? Am I a business owner? Am I a gardener? Am I a day trader? Am I an investor? Am I a content creator? Am I a YouTuber? It's becoming a weird thing in my mind of like, what am I? And it's just overall, I feel like the answer really, just to sum up in a word, is like entrepreneur. But I just feel like that's such a, in my head it feels so poncy to say that. I might be wrong. I don't know. I don't know what I want the answer to be. What would I want to be recognised as? But why does the question have to be, what do you do? What do you do? What do you do for a living? Maybe I'm a skateboarder because I spend a lot of time skating. But then the answer to the question, people are looking to, I suppose the question really is, what do you do to make money? How do you pay for the things that you pay for? That's the question we're asking when we say, what do you do for a living? What do you do for work? Or are we? It's a strange question. It's a strange concept. And honestly, I'm just finding it harder and harder to come up with an answer that's not too... And as well, I had this at a comedy night. I was sitting there in like the front section. So obviously you get rinsed out at every opportunity the comedian can. And obviously a common question that they ask is, so what's your name? What do you do? And honestly, I'm just like, well... If I was having a coffee with someone or sitting down having a catch up with someone, I'd probably give them the whole list. But as you're the stand-up comedian, I feel like I need to just answer this quite quickly. I can't say, well, I do this, here's the list. He'd be sit there bored half by the end of it. So it is a strange concept, and my mind's like rambling around with it, and I suppose that is something that's going through my mind at the moment. But I love what I'm doing at the moment. It is a lot of fun, so that's good, and I'm absolutely loving making content. The fact that these videos get like a handful of views doesn't matter. The fact that I get to make this content and get to make these videos and get to tweak with them and play around with them. I've seen just in the few videos I've done how my editing skills have become more efficient. I've got slightly better at it, whether you agree with that or not. My ability to make thumbnails has got better, and I have a lot of fun with thumbnail artwork, and I really enjoy it. So that's getting a lot more interesting for me, and that's something that I want to get a lot better at and make some more interesting thumbnails and more engaging. And even just studying like YouTubing and how to improve my skills as a YouTuber as such, how to sort of grow a channel, how to create better value content, how to improve what I do. But ultimately, I think being a YouTuber will come down to one thing, and that's long-term consistency. Get the content you want to produce and just produce it for a long time, consistently, regularly, will work. We'll find out. Well, as I said, I've set myself the challenge, my goal of doing a weekly video for 6 months, and now I'm pumping out like 2-3 videos a week. So it's going well so far, but we'll see how it goes. Elon Musk is named Person of the Year by, I've lost count of how many magazines, but what an accolade, a well-deserved accolade. There'll be a lot of people that agree, disagree, but obviously if you watch any video, if you know me, you know I'm a massive Elon fanboy and I'm a massive Tesla fanboy, and Tesla's benefited me massively in the last couple of years of my life. I've a lot to thank Tesla for in terms of my wealth, or my small amount of wealth, but my financial situation changing quite a bit recently, and hopefully I'll be driving a Tesla soon. So I think it's a well-deserved accolade. The fact, I cannot fathom how one human being can be disrupting so many industries at one time. I literally cannot see it being possible to live his life and run the companies he runs. Don't see it. The Boring Company, Neuralink, OpenAI, SpaceX, Tesla. How can you run, like, I struggled to run one company, let alone that many when you're talking multiple companies, like one of which is $1 trillion company, one of which is in the hundreds of billions, another company's in the billions, and it's how? So congratulations to Elon Musk, well deserved, and I think this is only the beginning. We're going to see those companies and him as an individual impact the world in many ways that you can't imagine. Well done, Elon. So that's kind of like the summary of Vlog My Mind this week. It's a bit like all over the place. There's obviously bits going on that I'm trying to keep up with the news and the updates of the world. I'm really enjoying myself as a content creator and really enjoying life. So there's a lot of interesting videos I've got coming up. Obviously I test drove a Tesla. I test drove a Tesla the other week. Amazing. So I've got some clips of that, obviously. I want to put them together. I do want to do another test drive though, to get more of a feel for it and hopefully create a bit of a better video as well. So that'll be coming out soon. As I said, I'm going to do a video on taxing billionaires and my thoughts and feelings around it, because there's just so much in the news at the moment and on Twitter just blowing up around billionaires taxation and what's fair, what's right, what's wrong, as well as many other exciting things. So click the subscribe button so you get those videos. Till next week.